Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years
Y'all miss me? Oh, y'all
Yes, we did.
all for the stay. Oh my God.
We
missed you.
I was about to cry.
We missed you.
Please don't cry. Don't cry. Dry your eyes, Sister Kalila.
Are you talking to the audience?
I am talking to the audience too. I want to first start off in the most holy name of Allah, always being witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all in the greeting, beautiful words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Listen, we are back and we are still in our series.
Come on.
What is our series? Let's talk about it. It is the podcast series. We bring in the best of the best to serve the purpose of God. What a wonderful purpose that is. Divine purpose of God. Mm-hmm. And without being said, Brother Tony, what do we normally tell everybody to do?
Now, you don't want to just keep it to yourself.
Right. Talk black to me.
You gotta subscribe. You gotta share it with those that will benefit, and that's everybody.
Everybody.
You gotta say it like that. Not everybody, but everybody.
Everybody.
Todo el mundo. See, I said in Spanish.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
I don't understand.
Hey.
Or you're trying not to understand, but no. You need to share it with whoever you can on your pages. Let's keep guiding our people to safety in this hour that we're living.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into it. Brother Mark, co-host. Look, the hostess with the Moses, as they always say. And my brother Tony, always my right, my left. Sometimes both. Always there. When I need them. Go to for go, A day. Look, A1 day one, as a matter of fact. My dear brother Tony. But we're going to get right into it.
We've got to get right back.
We've got to get right into it. So I am going to turn it over to you, Brother Tony.
All praise is due to Allah. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, the one God, to whom holy praises are forever due, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the supreme being, to whom holy praises are forever due. I am forever thankful to Almighty God Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thank them both for the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Abaragani. Free the land. buenas noches, sakpase, greetings in all of the languages that our beautiful people speak. Welcome to Thursday Night Talks, which is spearheaded by the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. The 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled by our Student Regional Minister, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, soon after the criterion message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that took place on July 4th, 2020. We were put together to warn our people and guide our people from a dangerous inoculation that was advertised to our people, in many cases superimposed. We warned our people, and we're still warning our people about many of the things, many of the traps, many of the conditions that are in the world that we must be steered away from and guided to a better place and space in our minds and in our physical reality. So, dear family, we are still diligently working after, my God, it's now the close of 2024. We've been working for over 4.5 years, Sister Kalila.
Yes, sir.
My God, my God. And see, now we're broadcasting these messages through the 9 ministries given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And these 9 ministries were given to us in the midst of the Millions More movement back in 2005. It's 9 ministries, which tonight we're going to be focusing on 2 of those ministries, which are not just simply for those of us in the Nation of Islam, but those in the community that would like to help and help guide our people to better conditions in our community.
Yes, sir.
Make our communities more decent and safer places to live. We're going to begin with the Ministry of Education, which is responsible for the mental and moral development of the members of the society by means of formal instruction in a prescribed manner over a prescribed period of time in a system of learning ranging from preschool through primary through advanced academic levels, culminating in the conferring of academic degrees under the direction of a National Board of Education. In addition to academic instruction, students shall receive teaching and training in the way of righteous conduct, decency, and self-respect, with the goal of making a better nation of people. We're also broadcasting this through the Ministry of Information, which is the central agency which provides services that include the development of all sources of informing the public of the policies, plans, and strategies necessary for the free flow of accessibility of information essential to an informed and empowered citizenry. This includes collection, research, and dissemination of current events, history, analysis, the publication of books, pamphlets, magazines, and use of the internet and social media. It is also responsible for the development of information systems and networks to secure internal and external communications, media program development and management, and establishment of an Office of Media Affairs and Press Secretary. And so those are the ministries that we're going to be focusing on here tonight. Brother Mark, I turn it over to you, who will be introducing our special guest here this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are so honored to have our dear brother Joshua Muhammad. And Brother Joshua Muhammad discusses honest perspective on The People's Podcast. As an actor and playwright, he has an affinity for the creative. He is also a frontline activist out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he hails from a family of national leaders. The People's Podcast is dedicated to topics of life from a millennial voice spanning all issues, from pop culture to religion, mental health, and social taboos. The People's Podcast is an expression of artists, influencers, community leaders, and distinguished guests to motivate others with stories of accomplishment, perseverance, and good times through struggle. Let us bring our dear brother, Brother Joshua Muhammad. Bring him.
There he is. There he is. Brother Joshua, guess what? You know, I need to say it like how he says it. And we are live, Brother Joshua.
Yeah. That part.
Brother Joshua, it is an honor. And look, the brothers are going to get me for it. But look, you're like one of my favorite podcasts.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, she said that. Mm-hmm.
It's my honor to have Brother
Joshua. Yes,
so we're going to get right into it, Brother Joshua. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Mark again.
All right, my dear brother Joshua. First question is, what motivates you to do your podcast so consistently over the years? You know, what's you've been doing it for a minute, and you know what motivates you to do it on a regular basis?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your question, and thank you all for allowing me the honor of being on your esteemed program. And shout out to the 7th Region. Shout out to Student Minister Patrick. But shout out to your family and all the laborers. But shout out to you all as well.
Yes.
What motivates me is the spirit of Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to get up every day and always think about how I can help and assist in reaching the masses of our people in any way I can. And I'm a creative, so the creative ways I can. So whether that's through art and culture or that's through the podcast, I'm always thinking about how I can help enlighten our people. And using the avenue of the People's Podcast is something that's on my mind 24/7. And everyone who is with me when I go into the community, when I'm work, school, wherever I am, I'm always like, that's a good interview. That'll be good. That story can motivate somebody. That my mind is always like working. And so to answer your question, sir, it is the spirit of God, the spirit of Allah, and seeing my people and our people mentally free from the shackles of ignorance.
All praise
due to Allah. Excellent.
Brother Joshua, if I could follow up, because you've interviewed many believers in the Nation of Islam. That's why I tune in to your broadcast very often, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes when I'm working out in the morning, I tune in and I listen to a lot of the stories. There's a lot of pioneers that you've interviewed prior to 1975, and those who began following the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in some cases in the late 70s and the early 80s. And I hear a lot of war stories, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir.
Why is it important to keep a record of such personalized accounts of our nation's history? And why are these testimonials so valuable? I would say invaluable.
Yes, sir. Great question. And thank you for watching and listening to the People's Podcast while you work out, Brother Tony. Yes, sir. Well, one of the war stories that inspired me when I was a junior FOI living in Chicago, Illinois, was in fact from our brother, the great pioneer who resides near you all in Miami, none other than Minister B.I.
Yes,
sir. My mother, Sister Sharifa Muhammad, told me that there was a story of a soldier and a warrior that I had to watch and I had to meet. And my father said, "Oh, we can set that up right away." And I was around 11 years old, and I met Minister B.I. and he told me the story, the war story of what he went through. And when he was so vivid, and me being an actor, the way he explained it, and he like, they put their boots in my back, and I went down underwater and all, and that just motivated me as a junior FOI to know what we had to face, what may come, what will come. And ever since I was 11 years old, around that time, hearing that war story, I said I wanted to get my own war stories, and I wanted to record all of the war stories of all of the believers who bear witness that there's no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is the risen, exalted Christ, an eternal leader of the Nation of Islam. So I wanted to share those war stories to the world, because once you know, it gives you perspective of what the pioneers went through, what the soldiers go through on a daily basis that we may never know. And so, yes, we know of Minister V.I. and we know of Minister Abdul Rahman and Minister Abdullah, of course, Minister Jabril, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But there are many stories, and it helps me when I want to complain about things, that the injustices that are going on in the world and to our people and to, my family and things of this nature. I can think about and reflect on what Minister V.I. had to go through. And I'm like, did the police raid our Mosque 15 in Atlanta, Georgia? Not yet. No. Okay, then. So it helps me keep going. Was I almost drowned? Did I have to deal with segregation? Did I have to deal with being mocked to the extent of what the Believers prior to 75 had to go through? Then no. Then I can keep going. So until we have to deal with what the Believers faced in Los Angeles, with the brutal murder of many of two brothers being murdered in front of the mosque.
Yes, sir.
Prior to 75, until we have to go through that on this side of the Calvary, and me personally, then I really don't have nothing to complain about except to an auditor. So I don't. When I hear the war stories, it gives me perspective that yes, we all deal with a lot, but nothing to the extent of what the pioneers had to deal with prior to 75, and what the pioneers on this side of the Calvary had to deal with as well, rebuilding the Nation of Islam. So, Allah's God, and no need to hold your head down, hold your head up, soldiers, and let's look forward to what we, our trial is, and inshallah we will pass.
All praise due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah, and may Allah be pleased with our soldiers that have strived and died on the post in Muhammad's name, in the name of Allah.
We had two mighty soldiers that passed this week, Sister Khalida.
Yes,
Minister John Muhammad out of Boston, Massachusetts, serving the Boston community for decades.
Yes.
Allah be pleased, and Brother Kevin out of New York.
Yes, sir.
Allah be pleased with these mighty soldiers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed, indeed. Brother Joshua, as an actor and a song playwright, and an activist, how do you compile all of these beautiful and wonderful gifts into your podcast?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Well, speaking of acting, I heard you singing multiple songs and y'all doing your own. You had your own little thing going on. Well, everything I do is a performance, So from the hand gestures, everything is a character. So no matter what, people may never know. There were times, one interview I did with a couple from Texas, that in the background while I'm interviewing them, there was health issues and emergency phones going on, all kind of stuff going on, and I got to stand before and say information and inspiration and do top 5. People can never know, so you always got to stay in character. And you can't break. So that's something I learned from acting, is how not to, show the audience what's behind, behind the scenes. And it gives me motivation to know that every day you all are doing the same thing. We all are putting our mask on before we go out into the public and putting our best foot forward, because we never know what each other are going through. We just know that we have been promised at least once a year that we will have a severe trial, and it's up to us to call on Allah to make it through. So to answer your question, every day nobody can never, what I'm saying? So I try to be as cool as possible and never let people know what I'm dealing with. Just know that Allah is sufficient, and we're striving to make Him just that.
Praises be to Allah. Thank you.
That's real talk, Brother Joshua, which leads into my question. Because you asked this question to all of your guests, but I don't think I've heard you answer your own question before.
Yes,
you ask your guests, what kind of music do you listen to? and what kind of music are you currently listening to?
Yes,
sir. There's a lot of music in that background, brother.
Yes.
You just start guessing.
Well, I listen to, and then this is the answers that I don't like to get, so I'm not going to give you all vague answers. I listen to everything. I listen to everything. I don't like when people say that. So currently, right now, I'm being balanced with. Right now, it's the soundtrack of Wicked.
Okay,
that's something that everybody's show tunes. I got nieces and nephews who like all of the musicals and all that kind of stuff. And then to stay balanced, I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm going to listen to some music that was very popular, came out of Miami. I don't know. This is maybe your children may know this group. They're called Pretty Ricky. So,
yes, sir. They went old school with that
one. Pretty Ricky, they call me. Pretty Ricky.
Ricky.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll probably listen to some Pretty Ricky. You know what I'm saying? When I get ready to go to work in the morning or something like that, because that's just what's on my playlist. People get so mad. Joshua loves Pretty Ricky. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Yes, Pretty Ricky or right now it's some Pretty Ricky, and it's a rapper out of Texas. Big X the Plug that keeps me in war mode, keeps me want to fight. But Pretty Ricky helps me stay balanced and help me sing. So shout out to Pretty Ricky, shout out to the whole Miami and all of the Florida people. So
praises be to Allah. Look, you see my vinyl. You see who that is, right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I see.
Yeah. Listen, look. And my vinyl is small compared to Brother Tony. Brother Tony will put me to sleep.
I haven't turned this camera around.
Oh, see, don't do it. Don't do it, Brother Tony. We ain't worthy, Brother Tony. We ain't worthy. But praises be to Allah. Thank you so much. Listen. It's so funny that Brother Tony, I'm sorry, Brother Mark, go ahead. I'm sorry, I was gonna cut.
It's okay.
Go right in front of you.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
Dear brother, the People's Podcast has enjoyed such great success. So my question is, what do you think has made your podcast such a great success? What do you attribute it to?
Thank you, sir. I attribute it to God, because only He can put the love of the people, to watch the People's Podcast.
Right.
I interviewed people when it was not, trending or the popular thing to have podcasts, and people, I would go to Savior's Day, and people coming to me and say, "Brother, I watched you from Mexico, or I was in Africa, or I was from here, I interviewed a sister from Oklahoma. I didn't even know we had believers in Oklahoma." And it's only Allah that can make the people have a love for the People's Podcast. It's only Him. I just do what I can and do the best that I can, but the magnetism or any attraction, all praises to Allah. And I'm grateful. Consistency, but it's the people, because it ain't, there are a lot of people who have podcasts, so it's only God, it's only God that can make people, and I'm aware of that, so I'm always humbled that for each person that ever likes, shares, subscribes, or comments, I know that it's God, that's guiding you all, because it's not all praise due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to my brother. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Y'all see 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 it.
Congratulations.
Listen, congratulations to you. Man.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I had to give that shout out. I just had to.
Thank you.
But again, congratulations to you for receiving your degree. What is your degree of study?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you all, everybody who's showing love on social media as well, man. It's overwhelming. I only had 8 tickets, but I would have invited everybody. And shout out to an auntie figure. We call her Mama Jita, and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Invited her.
Mama Jita.
Yeah, we definitely would have invited her. It's history education. I heard Brother Tony speaking about, you know, being a teacher and teaching, so I'm going into that while I continue to matriculate in higher education so that I can get my doctorate, because what I was holding in that picture is not mine. That's my mother's. That's what she wore when she graduated. So it was my way of honoring her. And she wanted, you know, she always wanted me to get my doctorate, and I was being rebellious and not going back to college because I was working things out in my own time. Allah's the best of planners. So shout out to my moms for being consistent and wanting me to, you know, get my degree. So I got 1 down, 2 more to go, inshallah.
Go ahead.
Man, I'm very humbled, and I see, you know, and I just want to say this: hope everybody can be patient with their children.
Yes.
Decision making, because my mom's was telling me to go to college since I was in middle school, and my grandfather, his name is Leonard Carson Ball, he gave me a sweater when I was like 13 years old that said college bound. And I just, you know, there's a lot of things that happen in life, and, you know, decisions that we make. And I, you know, sometimes we make some, you know, alternate routes to figure out what we're going to do in life. And I just wanted to help our nation. So I went that route, then this and that. Everything works in Allah's plan and in Allah's time. But I tell people education matters for the, you know, and it, what's funny is I always like, I didn't know people who went to college, because I believe I'm the first male to graduate from college on my father's side, because people, it just wasn't a thing. But then I looked at Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Aline, Dr. this, Dr. that. So I'm like, apparently people, you know, who helped the minister have degrees and, you know, did go to school.
Right.
They did.
So you can do two things at once. And yeah, I'm very excited, and I look forward to, you know, helping our people and helping my family and helping our people with the tools that I got from college and would continue to get, inshallah.
And then also too, just an add-on question, with your degree of studies, how would you contribute your degree in your podcast? Because I know you indicated it's a history major. So how would you contribute? Yeah, how would you contribute?
Yes, ma'am. Well, the term that I always use, because all my professors kept saying it over and over again, is primary sources. You know, Joshua, you gotta write primary sources. So what's the better primary source in the People's Podcast? You can go and type in anything, Vanguard, MGT. There's a sister who I interviewed out of Chicago who went to Muhammad University of Islam, who saw the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in MUI in Chicago. And then she posted a picture the other day on Facebook of her mother with the fezzes, the history of the fezzes, the garments, and what the MGT had to go through, the FOY and the original uniforms, and why the bow tie and this and that, and, you know, it's just so much, and you can hear it directly from them. Right. And so what's a better, you know, source than to hear that? So if I say Miami, 7th region, well, there's so many believers I've interviewed from Miami, from Student Minister Patrick to Student Minister Rasul to Brother Thomas Jihad to, you know, so it's like you could just run it down and be like, oh, well, this is what happened in Miami. This is when the mosque was, this is what happened. Boom, boom. Where was Muhammad Ali when he met Minister Rahman? Where they were in Miami, you know, it was like, oh, okay. So you can put it all together and get it right there. So by the grace of Allah, I had Minister Abdul Rahman's last interview that he did, and he was talking about Miami. So, you know, it's like you could just type in. So it's like, and hear directly how important Miami was and is to our people, to the nation, and the 7th region is. So you can go to Jacksonville, it's Kalila. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you like
stories in Jacksonville.
Exactly. So so to Pensacola, to Orlando. So many. So the People's Podcast is a place where you can hear directly from the believers who 9 times out of 10 you have never heard from, didn't know their stories and their accomplishments and what Islam has done for them. And it gives me motivation to know that the nation will never fall again, not only because Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that, and Most Honorable Rasul reiterated it, but just in my own mind, I'm like, as long as their bow ties, headpieces, being, our culture all around the nation, we'll be fine, inshallah, and we can learn from the mistakes and of the trials of people prior to 75 and what they had to go through in a non-judgmental place, just to hear it, say, okay, so maybe we can do this, we can learn from that. How do we make Allah sufficient? How can we, better, understand and make sure? One believer said that the minister was saying how in 1975, during the transition of the nation to Al-Islam and everything that was going on, how there was no supreme wisdom no more, no message to the black man, no fall. So now it's like, so now when our trial comes up with the departure of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, we can hold on to our lessons, hold on to everything he ever taught us, the time must be done, all the YouTubes, we got so much information. So inshallah, we can be strong and steadfast under trial and always uphold point number 12. Always, man, I'm just honored to be in the Nation of Islam and honored to be a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, and honored to be on the 7th Region Coalition tonight.
Listen, and also to add, Brother Joshua, creating your history.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, you in the history books and you don't even know it. They're gonna be like, oh, look at the history. Oh, the People's Podcast. You remember People's Podcast?
Remember People's Podcast?
Yeah. And then they'll be called, oh man, I remember that's old. That was a long time ago. Well, y'all old. But that history repeats itself, and you're gonna be a part of that history. Alhamdulillah.
Yes, ma'am.
Praises be to Allah. Thank you for your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
All praise is due to Allah. Well, dear brother, you mentioned in reference to many guests that you've had throughout the years, and I guess I was wondering, is there any particular strategy for who you decide to bring on? Is there a certain strategy for who's coming up next, who and what you're going to do? Is there a particular strategy, or is it by just inspirational, or how does that go about?
Yes, sir. It goes by the spirit. And in a real sense, because people, especially my family, always like, don't get too spooky, don't go way out there, something. But we are spiritual beings, and so I try to interview people who have a kindred spirit, if you will, and I just go by that. I see somebody post something like, oh, okay, let's see what they have to say for the first interview, but then you get part 2, part 3, part 4. It's what the people need hope. And people need inspiration, and it comes from in many forms. So I'm somebody who doesn't believe in clout chasing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
For the audience who's watching, I don't go to interview people who have the most views, who have the biggest names, titles. I'm not into all of that. I'm into people who just, because you never know. Some of my biggest views and everything have come from people I've never even met before. People who know. Because it's just the spirit. They just, oh man, they somewhere from a random city or random, and they like, brother, did you know one time the minister was there, and his words helped me and my family. And so I go by the spirit. You never know, and I love interviewing the children, the youth, because it keeps me going. It lets us know that our work is not in vain.
Right.
And so it's all by the spirit. To answer your question, I move by the spirit of Allah, and whoever people. Man, you'll be surprised. I mean, a brother was texting right before we went live and said, I know a brother who was, worked with the messenger doing this. I know I interviewed the minister's Taylor and the person, and I'll never meet these people in real life. And these people, they just come from all these different stories. One brother did this, and that's a lot, because I didn't, if it's up to me, I would be interviewing the same 5 to 10 people, because I'm an introvert, so I don't really know that many people. But, everybody recommends somebody, and the spirit doesn't lie. So I just keep asking Allah every morning, every night. And can you please continue to help me reach your people and spread your word? So to answer your question, the spirit.
All praise be to Allah.
Brother Joshua, with that in mind, and I know you've had hundreds of interviews. Hundreds.
I think he almost in the thousands now.
I think so.
I'm just saying.
Out of all of the hundreds, what would you consider to be some of the most memorable ones that you've had, that you said to yourself, this moment right here, ain't nobody else getting it like this? What,
yes, sir.
And any of them stick out like that?
Absolutely. Like you said, there are quite a few interviews, but I would shout out to Miami and the 7th region. The interview that I did with Brother Thomas Jihad.
Yes, sir.
Who I didn't know as a person. I just saw him around ever since we were younger. You just see the brother around.
Right.
And when I interviewed him and he read a letter that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote him on the People's Podcast, and to hear him read the words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to hear him explain his relationship with Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that meant a lot to me because it showed the messenger as a real person versus somebody you only see on the screen and, you know, Savior's Days and clips. You're like, okay, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but we need somebody to explain it to him to make him human to us, because other than that, it would be just like, you know, way out, like, oh man, you know, I ain't never seen the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but to hear someone read his words, and then I always ask the guest, what did the messenger wear when you saw him? And it was like, oh, this time he had a suit on, or this time he had a uniform on. So to hear Brother Thomas Jihad, I was very impressed. I was very impressed with Student Minister Patrick in his representation of speaking the different languages and to, you know, why that's important. Shout out to the Haitian Revolution and how important Haiti is and how he was breaking that down. And so I'm very impressed with him. And of course, you know, Minister Rasul, that's one of my favorite interviews because it is rare to find an interview with him now, but just someone who's very kind, very nice. And he helped me understand Miami in a way where I just didn't understand it. I know things through pop culture and music. So right. I can tell you, so if somebody says Florida, I'm gonna go, okay, so you're saying where DJ Khaled is from, where Rick Ross is from. All right, so this how I'm seeing things through the lens of rappers and stuff, but it's like now I see it through the lens. Okay, this is what happened in the nation. Okay, so in the 80s, this was so okay, so then I watch an interview now, and it's a guy, Ali Zopound, and he's saying how all the Miami, how the drug boys was running things and how they had to, from this time period. But then during that same time period, this is what the FOI was doing over here to help stop crime. Exactly. So it's like, you know, so it's to see our role in it. We were always there. I was blessed to be at the Source Awards in Miami when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan received awards from Benzino, Suge Knight, Jay Prince was there. We in Miami, and these people, Mike Tyson was there, like all the people I look up to, like all the celebrities. And I'm like, but I'm with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to see them come and bow and look at him and say assalamu alaikum and be kind to the brothers. We all suited, you know, suit and bow ties everywhere. And so many people, shout out to Trina, you know, who was very nice to us and was like, oh, okay, I see the FOI. You know what I'm saying? Every people was there. They was just being, and I was like, yo, Miami. And I know that the recognition that we got was from the work of the believers in the 7th region, holding it down in Miami. So, yes, sir. And, you know, shout out to all the believers holding it down in Miami, Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando. Sister Khalila always gets, you know, was obsessed with Orlando. He loves Disney World. He
loves Orlando. Like,
because I, you know, me and my family, we go at least once a year. So I love Florida. I love the 7th region, and man, yeah. So I hope I answered your question.
Welcome anytime in the 7th region, Brother Joshua.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Okay. So we were speaking of how big your podcast was. And like I said, I've been looking. I've been like, oh, let me see. You know, looking at stats. Because, you know, Brother Tony, and, you know, you have this professor on the other side, Brother Mark. They are stats oriented. You hear me? Yes, they love dealing with stats. How long did it take you to grow your show into the current size that it's in now?
Yes, ma'am. It took time. The pandemic was a trial, but it wound up being a blessing and a trial. But you know, I'm gonna say right now we have 6 years on YouTube, and man, just being consistent and interviewing people and never knowing the outcome. That's what I'm saying. You gotta have faith with each interview. That's why I said I'm grateful that I never had to clout chase in order to reach any form of success or reach the people. Just keep being consistent. And so I'm grateful to all the numbers, all the subscribers. I'm truly, I pray one day that I can meet everybody who watches People's Podcast, because I just read the names and I say them. And even the guests, I went to Phoenix, Arizona. This had to be maybe 8 months ago. And when I was there, people were coming up to me and they were like, oh my God. And I was like, salam. And they were like, you don't remember me, bro? I was like, nah. They were like, you look so different. When you see people on the camera, you go through all these interviews, you don't even know how people really look in real time. You never know. So I'm grateful for everybody. But to answer your question, it took every day. I'm working every day. I want to meet the people. I want to know the people, but I know there's a lot of work, and it's him, because I would have never guessed that I would interview all these people, because if I had to do it in person, I don't believe I would have done it, because it's not my personality to just go to travel to different cities and talk to that many people. I'm reserved when I'm not, in this mode.
Yeah.
We're grateful for every like. I enjoyed my time, Brother Tony. It's an honor to meet you.
Honor to meet you, my brother.
The other brother who's always with, he's very nice to me, very kind, Brother Malik.
Yes.
Who's always on post for Student Minister Patrick.
RoboCop.
Yes, sir. It's always
Brother Malik.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Brother Malik. It's always an honor to meet the believers. When I travel, and just to see it's an honor to meet you all. So it's day by day to answer your questions, Sister Kalila. And I just love hearing from the stories. And anytime I talk to people, they say, Josh, you've been interviewing us just without the camera being on for years, since I was younger. Because I always want to know. I'm always going to know, like, okay, what made you join the nation? Okay, what made you, why you around? How long you been? Oh, okay, let me know. So it's just that the subscribers grow and the shares and the likes grow. But if nobody else ever watches, and the numbers go up and down, or whatever happens, Allah's God 24/7. So that's just my stance, and I'm grateful. And just know that when my sister Miriam and Naima, they always in the comments, people always leave me say, somebody can make me some. Yeah. If it's them two, we're gonna go live, and if we go live with a popular guest, and it's all kind of names, and I'm getting anxiety, I'm putting the phone down because I can't even look at so many names. The spirit, the energy, I wanted to stay the same regardless. If 10 people watch versus, I did an interview this year that it's at 44,000 people watched the interview that I did, and I was like, all praise due to Allah, because you never know. What's going to hit and what's not going to hit. So either way, I just want the people to know that I care about each guest, and I want to give them, whether it's a comedian, an actor, a rapper, a minister, captain, protocol, it don't matter. You're a human being. You're a child of God, and I'm interested in interviewing you. So to answer your questions, I just take it, treat every interview as if, because the Most High Muhammad said, when you look at the black man, you're looking at God. So I treat every interview with the same respect and the same honor, and that's been my formula.
Brother, if I may ask a question, Brother Mark, just as a follow-up, something that you said, Brother Joshua, because the pandemic was a trial for practically all of us. How was it a trial for you, especially in regards to the development of the production of the People's Podcast at that time, and how did you overcome those hurdles?
Great question, Brother Tony.
Great question, Brother Tony. Yes, sir. To answer your question, Wi-Fi. I'm moved different locations. If you are, sometimes it took a minute to get this background somewhere. I was over here, and when the pandemic hit, that affected me personally. College, work, trying to get the times to go, at this time and that time, and then the guests, they're going through all kind of stuff too. So our remote, it's so much easier to do in-person interviews.
Right.
Camera, you know what I'm saying? Zoom is not, man, when the pandemic hit, it was like, do you got how to work Zoom? And I've been doing it's live, so I don't do the editing and all of that. So sometimes it goes off and come back. Okay, did y'all hear it? Sometimes just audio. Sometimes the screen froze. It's all kind of stuff that was happening and still happens. But the greatest trial was the spirit of the actual pandemic and the guests trying to be like, hey, y'all, you know, we still, you know what I'm saying, still going when you know that people's lives are being lost and all. It was a thing, and by the grace of Allah, I got over it by leaning on Him and depending totally on Allah and my family and the people of the People's Podcast. Every comment, I hope everyone who watches the 7 Region Coalition that you all continue to say positive things, because words matter.
Yes.
You know, you never know what people are going through, and I look down and somebody says, ASA, Brother Joshua, man, we love your show. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm gonna keep going. Bills are getting paid. You're gonna never know people going through. So when you read it, verse yesterday, I did an interview in the comments. I had to block like 5 people in the comments because they arguing and fighting and people.
Right.
So it's just like, come on, y'all.
It ain't about that.
It's not about that. I'm like, dude, are y'all really that mad about people arguing about Yaqub and stuff? It's 2024. Like, why is that a thing? Why are y'all so triggered? Like, I'm a positive person. I don't really get into it all, you know. So I try to reflect the spirit of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that he displays on stage, and that we have been honored to see him when he's not on stage. He is someone who represents peace, and I try to have that, and it helps me keep going. To answer your question,
praise be to Allah, Brother Joshua. We don't know what great good could come out of these podcasts.
That's right.
And something that someone may say on the podcast, you yourself may say something that may make somebody say that's going through something, and all of us are going through something.
Right.
Give us an idea of how to come out of a situation. That's really Allah speaking through us.
Right. That's right.
Thank you for your service, Brother Joshua.
Thank you. Thank you all, sir.
Praise be to Allah.
All right. This question is probably the most difficult question of the night.
Was that a drum roll, Sister Khalil?
It was a drum roll.
Oh, Allah. Okay, go ahead, Brother Mark.
Brother Tony.
No comment. Go ahead, Brother Mark.
but we do need an answer from you, dear brother, and an honest answer. So if you could reflect on the answer to this question. Besides yourself, who is your favorite podcaster right now and why?
Okay, thank you for your question. But that's easy. It is a sister out of the 7th region named Sister Kalila in the 7th region.
Whoa!
We didn't have to strong arm you for that one or anything.
Don't do that, brother Josh. Don't do that. You about to make me crown these people airways. Don't do that.
Oh man, our ratings just increased.
Shout out to 7th Region Coalition, but it's Sister Kalila for being kind. I don't enjoy being interviewed all the time because I'm always working and I want to. That's the Minister Sharif, my father, in me. But I'm busy, and I gotta do this, and you let the work speak for yourself. You know, y'all want to be in front of the cameras, but because I have a podcast, I know how important it is to do interviews. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to ask somebody, but I'm really in between. So I'm working on something. I got some stuff coming out that I'm working on. And when I heard the voice of Sister Kalila, and she was speaking of her mother, you know, may Allah be pleased, and things like that, it's a very human. Believe it, we real. So it's like if my sisters ask me, I'm a slide, I'm gonna pull up. So just know that. So you know, anytime you ask me for anything, I'm always gonna help be there for you and your family and for the brothers. So when I like human interaction and from the believers and that spirit. So to answer your question, I'm gonna go on 7th Region Coalition because I'm on here.
All praise.
First one.
Listen. Now, your uncle was on here last week. Now,
yes, ma'am.
And he was, he gave you a shot. He was definitely said you were his top 5 because he had so many of them. And so my thing is, we have to give you that. We won. We were number 1. Where are some others?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Well, okay, so now the other ones, I don't know if y'all are into the same stuff I'm into.
Yeah, because a lot of us are not. But the thing is, what we're doing, we're giving flowers while we live. You know,
okay, yes, ma'am.
Via podcast, so we want to know.
The number 1 podcast I watch all the time and always reference is Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan is someone who I study, and he does 3-hour interviews. I'm like, how can you you know what I'm saying, from not only from like Cat Williams and stuff, but he'll interview some like a comedian like Cat Williams, but then the next day he's interviewing somebody about the JFK assassination. He's interviewing people about the baby plane. That's my main thing. That's like I watch. I'm like Joe Rogan is talking about UAPs, UFOs, whatever everybody wants to call them, baby planes. And I can sit and watch Joe Rogan for hours with people who I don't know, and I'm like, And then of course, I mean, he has a comedian friend, so I listen to Theo Von and like the comedians that he has on there as well. Bill Burr. I listen to a lot of the funny. I like comedians, so I listen to funny comedians. There's a podcast called Art of Dialogue that deals with death row days and like Suge Knight and like rapper Tupac and Biggie and all. So I like listening to rappers podcasts. If I'm serious, Joe Rogan. If I want to get some knowledge, but as far as that's about it. Art of Dialogue and Joe Rogan are probably the main 1 and 2, and then Bill Burr because I like funny stuff. If you can find, I'm always gonna post silly stuff because I like life is so serious. Right. So you know what I'm saying. So I just try to listen to comedy podcasts, but outside of those 3, that's probably what's on my YouTube. I don't know if y'all in the superhero stuff, my nerd glasses, but
yeah.
Big box.
So the Superman trailer just dropped today. So that's like a thing. So I always watch, different podcasts dealing with. They teach me so much. I'm a casual, so I like Marvel and DC and stuff like that. But you'll watch a podcast. And they're like, did you know that the 7th Superman and Kingdom Come was the reason that? So I like podcasts that break down superhero stuff and Star Wars and stuff like that too. So
thank you.
Yeah. So there's a lot of podcasts that deal with. I want to say Nerdstalgic is a pod. Yeah, Nerdstalgic. It's a guy named Critical Drinker, and I don't know if y'all watch this podcast. He it's called Pitch Meetings. It's some nerd stuff, but he does. If you don't want to see a movie, he does a pitch meeting, like he does a breakdown for all the movies in like 6 minutes, and he talks about stuff. So it's a way for me to see stuff. So he's like, "Oh, what are you talking about today? Today we're talking about Spider-Man 2," and he just does a 6-minute breakdown about what Spider-Man is, and da, 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 da. So when I'm not, watching my cool stuff or some deep Muslim enlightenment, I watch some nerd podcasts as well.
Well-rounded.
Praises be to Allah. Well, this is the last part of our segment. And one part we always like to talk about is the Knowledge Corner. The Knowledge Corner is when you gain knowledge, you gain power. So the Knowledge Corner thing is going to be today is 18 powerful advantages of having a podcast. So I am going to turn it over to Brother Tony. Brother Tony is going to break down all 8 of those advantages, because at the end of the day, we don't want to be the only ones that's doing these podcasts, right? We want other people to do other podcasts. So we are also not only teaching people, but we are also in training as well to be the best. So absolutely. I'm going to turn it over to you, Brother Tony.
All praise is due to Allah. So 18 powerful advantages of podcasting. It helps you become more of an expert. Number 1, helps you become more of an expert in your field. Number 2, it helps you connect with new people and grow your network. Social media is where we get to bond with people, not just locally, but nationally and throughout the world.
That's right.
Podcasting is also a great way to build your brand. Podcasting is an efficient use of time. At least we should make it efficient.
Right.
There's some podcasts out there. No, we're broadcasting with purpose.
Right.
And when you broadcast with purpose, you are fulfilling your mission in life. Podcasting is a great way to build relationships. That's number 5. Number 6, podcasting allows you to share your expertise. Number 7, podcasting helps you stand out from the crowd. Number 8, podcasting is a great way to build your authority. Number 9, podcasting is a great way to build your email list. Number 10, podcasting is a great way to make money. Well, those of us that are doing it, but here's my thing. Those of us that are not oriented towards making it a money thing,
right?
Making it about service, those are the most successfully financially. We have to put service first, family.
That's
Number
right.
11, podcasting is a great way to promote your business. Number 12, podcasting, is a great way to connect with influencers, especially influencers in the field that you're particularly in. Number 13, podcasting allows you to share your story.
Right.
Number 14, podcasting has no restriction on time. Number 15, personalized content. Number 16, control of your content. Number 17, podcasting, also broadcasting, but podcasting cuts cost and time. And finally, podcasting is fun. That's number 18. And that is the 18 advantages or powerful advantages of podcasting. I don't think I've said podcasting so much in the span of a couple.
Because this is the podcast series.
That's right.
Thank you, Brother Tony. I appreciate you. Any closing remarks from you, Brother Joshua?
Oh, absolutely. I just want to thank you all. I know we have a time situation, so I don't want to belabor the point and stay too long, but just want to thank each of you for coming on. I want to thank you, Sister Kalila, for being a beacon of light in the community, social media, being kind to me. Shout out to you and Mama Jita for holding it down.
Mama Jita.
Always being nice to me, and that matters to me. The only reason I came on the podcast is because Sister Kalila is nice to me, so I just have to keep stressing that. I'm just telling you, I just don't. People offer me to get interviewed and go places, and I'm respectful and I'm humble, but I just, man, I'm I know how. That's why I respect when people come on my podcast, because I know how it can be nervous and you get anxiety when you do it. So I don't take it for granted that each person how it is, and I know what it feels like to be on the other side. So thank you all very much. Thank you for doing the great work and holding it down, Brother Tony, Brother Mark, the 7th region, Student Minister Patrick, all the laborers, his family, all the people who ever put in work in the Nation of Islam. I thank you. Shout out to my brother. I thought I was going to see my brother who was on here last time, Brother Lyle, holding it down.
Brother Lyle.
Shout out to Brother Lyle.
He's another person I like to beat in chess a lot, but they won't play me. I don't know. But yes, I just want to thank you all.
Brother Joshua, as we're closing out, how can people support you and your podcast?
Please.
Yes, sir. Everyone can watch the People's Podcast. We continue to thank you for your views. We're grateful for every like, share, and subscription. And I pray that you all give me the honor of interviewing you as well.
Oh, we got a request.
Got a request.
It says Tony Muhammad, assalamu alaikum. Tell Brother Josh to put me on his show with a emoji. Reach out to Sister Angelica, dear brother.
and it's so funny. Sister Angelica has a wonderful podcast. It's Healing with Angelica, and when I say it's amazing, I think she will be an awesome candidate for a actual interview on your podcast. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
We're gonna set that up for you, Sister Angelica. That's what we do in the 7th region.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. That's what time it
is. As we're winding it down, Sister Kalila, how can we be supported as the 7th region coalition to help save lives? Tony. Don't we want to continue broadcasting?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are providing a service, and this is out of the kindness of our hearts. But StreamYard, they say, "Oh, y'all so nice. We're just gonna go ahead and let you stream for free." No, it ain't like that. So whatever you could donate, dear family, it could be a couple of dollars. If it's a large donation, a couple $100, $1,000.
Hey, let's talk about
we ain't gonna stop that Cash App.
Talk black to me.
Anything is a blessing, even all the way down to a couple of cents or $1. Anything is a great blessing, dear family. May Allah continue to bless you and your family. Thank you for your support to help us continue to broadcast and to help guide our people to safety and save lives. Thank you so much.
All right. So with that being said, let's close out, Brother Tony.
Dear family, make sure to tune in next week. I'm not going to say same bat channel, same bat time, because this ain't Batman. But anyway, talking about comics, Brother Joshua. Tune in next year, family. May Allah, God, continue to bless you all and your families. Assalamu alaikum.